Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Texas and Paxton and impeachment and acquittal and what it all means. Okay, so what do we know? Okay. What we know is that Republicans in the House impeached the Republican Attorney General, and then Republicans in the Senate acquitted him. That's what we know. So what can we infer from what we know for sure? There is a huge split within the Republican Party. And that's mirrored nationwide. You have the far right party, the sedition caucus style party, and then you have the Reagan-Bush style Republicans. And they are not happy with each other. And this is now reflected in state politics. I would imagine that this is going to carry through to the primaries, to the election, all of that. If you have ever thought about getting involved in Texas politics, now is your time, because there's going to be a lot of upheaval, a lot of score settling going on. There will be openings. But that doesn't tell us everything. When it comes to the behavior of Republicans and people looking at the impeachment as a whole, the two main theories that developed, one is there's something we don't know. Okay, most people took that to mean another allegation or perhaps more proceedings of a different kind of nature dealing with Paxton. The other is that it's something personal. The personal one kind of fell apart, because if it was something personal, odds are the Senate would have voted the other way. It would make more sense for them to have voted the other way if it was something personal. So we're back to there's something we don't know. Whatever it is, we still don't know it. But we can gain a little bit of insight into the Senate with this. Whatever it is, they believe the average voter in Texas will not care about it. That's their position. That's what this vote means. Or they view it in a situation where their vote will make it to where nobody cares about it. And they'll dismiss it by saying, well, the Senate investigated it and they found he didn't do anything wrong. That's a possibility as well. But that's a big gamble, because it all depends on how the average voter in Texas views Paxton's actions. If the average voter in Texas views it as he didn't do anything wrong, this is normal politics, then the Senate votes are probably right. Nobody's going to care. But if the average voter in Texas looks at his behavior and says that's out of line, that's corrupt, or that's just not something we want, those senators who voted to acquit, they just co-signed that behavior, and they may pay for it at the polls. At this point, we don't know. We don't know how this shapes up, other than it's setting a pitched battle between Republicans in Texas. That much we know. Everything else depends on the voters at this point. If more allegations surface, if more proceedings start, those voters, they may look at the Senate acquitting him on these charges and see it as, my senator can't tell right from wrong. Or they may look at it and say, these weren't real big things, not a big deal. This is just normal Southern politics. In which case, Republicans in the House may end up paying for it. The long and the short of this is, it's not over. The impeachment battle, the trial, all of that, that's not the end of this story. The end of this story won't really be told until the voters decide whether or not they think the behavior covered by the impeachment was appropriate, and whether or not they think the senators co-signed it, or whether or not they think the House Republicans were playing partisan games. And I don't think we're actually going to see the end result of this little political escapade until, at the earliest, the primaries. At the latest, it might be 2024. But at this point, Paxton was acquitted in the impeachment. That's the news. That's what we know. Beyond that, it's a lot of speculation, and most of the speculation is going to be idle until people get in that voting booth, because that's when the ultimate arbiter of political behavior gets to cast its vote. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.